What's up, boys? It's me, Dallas41, coming back at you with another NBA YouTube video. And today we're ranking the top 10 NBA teams of all time. First of all, let me clarify that I'm ranking teams, not franchises. A team would be the 2010-11 Dallas Mavericks. A franchise would be just the Dallas Mavericks. Secondly, you would have to have won a championship in order to qualify for my list, so that excludes the 2016 Warriors. As good as they were in the season, they couldn't get it done in the postseason. Number 10, the 1986-87 Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers won 5 world titles during the Showtime era, and this was their best team. Magic Johnson was in his prime, and an aging Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still had some gas left in the tank. More importantly, they had one of the best supporting casts in league history. James Worthy was a fellow future Hall of Famer who thrived running the floor. Lockdown defender Michael Cooper was the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. Byron Scott was a top long-range specialist, and they had blue-collar bangers in AC Green and Kurt Rambis. There were no weaknesses on this team. For the second time in 3 years, the Lakers beat the rival Boston Celtics in a 6-game NBA Finals. Johnson took a page out of Abdul-Jabbar's book in a Game 4 thriller, making a hook shot to win it. Magic was named Finals MVP after averaging 26.2 points and 13 assists. Number 9, the 2012-13 Miami Heat. The Heat won their first title with the Big Three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh in 2011-12, but that season was cut short due to a labor dispute. Because many thought the Heat would have to prove themselves over an 82-game win streak, they would crumble. They prevailed. In 12-13, Miami won 66 games during the regular season, which included a 27-game winning streak, the second longest in NBA history. Their 12 double-digit wins in the postseason were the most ever, but the playoffs were still a grind. In Game 6 of the Finals, they were down in the final minute against the San Antonio Spurs, but key three-pointers by LeBron James and Ray Allen forced an overtime, and the Heat eventually prevailed. They won a tightly contested Game 7 to clinch a second straight title. Miami proved that, just like any great team, they could grind out the tough wins. Number 8, the 1970-71 Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks were instant contenders. In 1969-70, the franchise's second season in existence, they won 56 games. That's because they had drafted Lou Alcindor, who later changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A big man so dominant, he is still the NBA's all-time leading scorer. To get over the top the following season, they traded for another all-time great, Oscar Robertson. The Big O was aging, but still a star. And the Bucks had one of the greatest combos ever. Alcindor won his first scoring title and first MVP award, while Robertson was an all-star again. The Bucks won 66 games, which included a then-record 20-game winning streak. They lost only 2 games in the playoffs, outscoring opponents by more than 14 points per game. They swept the Baltimore Bullets in the NBA Finals, clinching a title in the franchise's third season. Number 7, the 1982-83 Philadelphia 76ers. NBA MVP Moses Malone was asked how his team, which had won 65 games in the regular season, would do in the playoffs. His response? Faux. He meant Philly would win the 3 playoff series needed to win a title, each in a 4-game sweep. He was off, but not by much. Behind All-Stars Malone, Julius Erving, Maurice Cheeks, and Andrew Toney, plus 6th Man of the Year Bobby Jones, the Sixers swept the New York Knicks, then jumped out to a 3-0 series lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. They slipped up in Game 4 before finishing off the Bucks in 5. It set up a finals matchup with the Los Angeles Lakers, who had beaten them in the 1980 and 82 finals. The Sixers trailed at halftime in Games 1 through 4, but came back to win comfortably each time. It wasn't quite faux, but it was one of the NBA's greatest playoff runs of all time. Number 6, the 2007-08 Boston Celtics. Great teams need more than just talent. They need chemistry. When a team acquires a new star or two during the offseason, they can start the season playing poorly. That was not the case with the 07-08 Celtics. After winning just 24 games the previous season, Boston traded several young players and draft picks to acquire superstar Kevin Garnett and all-star Ray Allen in separate deals. Garnett's defense and Allen's smooth shooting stroke meshed perfectly with crafty scorer Paul Pierce, along with rising young point guard Rajon Rondo. The pieces fit perfectly. Boston won 66 games in the regular season and battled through a long postseason. Each series went at least 6 games. The Celtics' most impressive victory was the one that clinched the title. They beat the Los Angeles Lakers 131-92 in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Number 5, the 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers. Despite having the NBA's best big man in Shaquille O'Neal and all-star Glenn Rice, one of the NBA's premier shooters, the Lakers were swept out of the playoffs for a second straight year in 1999. The jump from good team to great team was because of Kobe Bryant. Bryant often played out of control at times during his first 3 seasons, especially in the playoffs. He matured into a star in his 4th season. Kobe and Shaq formed an unstoppable 1-2 punch under the guidance of coaching legend Phil Jackson. LA won 67 games during the regular season, and O'Neal took home both MVP honors for both the regular season and the NBA Finals. LA clinched the title with a comeback win over the Indiana Pacers in Game 6 of the Finals, with O'Neal scoring 41 points and Bryant adding 26. It was the first of 3 consecutive NBA championships. Number 4, the 1985-86 Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are basketball's greatest franchise, and this was the best team they ever had. Boston won the 1983-84 title behind 4 future Hall of Famers, Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, both forwards, center Robert Parrish, and guard Dennis Johnson. But after losing to the Los Angeles Lakers in the 1985 finals, it seemed something was missing. They found it in Bill Walton, a former league MVP who many thought was washed up. The Celtics offered the perfect role for Walton, coming off the bench as a versatile big man. While Bird won NBA MVP honors for the 3rd straight season, Walton was the NBA's 6th Man of the Year. Boston went 67-15 during the regular season. Amazingly, including the playoffs, they went 50-1 in home games. The Celtics lost only 3 playoff games while outscoring opponents by more than 10 points per game. Number 3, the 1966-67 Philadelphia 76ers. Even with superstar Wilt Chamberlain, the Sixers had yet to win a title. Boston had beaten them in the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons as Celtics big man Bill Russell held Chamberlain in check. New head coach Alex Hannum had a plan. Instead of relying only on Chamberlain, he emphasized passing. Chamberlain averaged 24.1 points that season, the first time he averaged fewer than 30 in a season. But he also averaged a career-high 7.8 assists. 6 different Sixers averaged double-digit points. They were 46-4 at one point, and finished with a then-record 68 wins. In the playoffs, Philly cruised past Boston in 5 games, behind the balanced scoring of Chamberlain, Hal Greer, and Chet Walker. They beat the San Francisco Warriors in the finals, finishing a total team effort with a title. Number 2, the 1971-72 Los Angeles Lakers. It had been 12 years since the Lakers had moved from Minneapolis to Los Angeles, and they had yet to bring a title to LA. They had acquired dominant big man Wilt Chamberlain on the cheap after the superstar demanded a trade from Philadelphia. But when knee problems forced star forward Elgin Baylor to retire 9 games into the season, it looked like more disappointment was on the way. The Lakers won their first game after Baylor's retirement. Then, they won their next 32 games after Baylor's retirement. It was a record win streak that still stands today. Behind Chamberlain, Mr. Clutch, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, and the Lakers rolled to a 69-win regular season. After dropping Game 1 of the NBA Finals, they beat the New York Knicks 4 straight times for LA's first NBA title in a very dominant fashion. And number 1, the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls. The rest of the NBA was enjoying life without Michael Jordan. After leading the Bulls to 3 straight titles, Jordan retired before the 93-94 season to pursue a baseball career. The Bulls were still good, though, winning 55 games in the playoff series that season. Jordan returned midway through the 94-95 season, looking rusty as the Bulls fell to Orlando in the second round of the playoffs. The next season, his airness was his old self. Scottie Pippen, now a superstar in his own right, was in his prime. Do-it-all sixth man Tony Kukoc was a perfect fit, as was newly acquired rebounding machine Dennis Rodman. Hall of Fame coach Phil Jackson melded them perfectly, and the result was a record 72 regular season wins. The Bulls rolled to an NBA title and earned the right to call themselves the greatest team of all time. Thank you for watching. Do you disagree? Do you think the Warriors still should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, this is Dallas41 signing off.